Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to attempt to answer as many questions as I can in about 35 minutes from the post I did about Ask Me Anything About Mediumship. Thank you all for your questions. I'll get to hopefully all of them. Let's see. And I will preface this by saying anything I say, these are my beliefs. This is what I believe. I don't mean any disrespect if I go against other people's beliefs, but I am a firm believer that anything coming from God and the spirit world is about love, is about healing, is about helping. Okay. So you've asked me questions and I'm just going to give you my honest answers, and I'll be as respectful as I can. If I don't know something, I probably won't read the question, or I might read something that I just don't know, okay? Because we don't know everything about the spirit world or the workings of spirit. And when I pass and move over to the spirit world, I will let everyone know everything that they really want to know. Okay, so the first group of questions is from Jennifer. Thank you for your questions. Okay, so Jennifer asks, have you ever seen a negative spirit wear the details of a good spirit in a reading, like a wolf in sheep's clothing? I think this happened recently where my dark parent used my light parent to guise crap that he was going to try to throw at me. Okay, so first question, and I'll use my belief system right here. I don't really entertain the idea of dark spirits. I don't believe the spirit world would use their energy and all the effort to move down to our vibration, because we're in the physical plane, so we're a lower vibration, and try to trick us. Okay, so either it just was the ability of the medium wasn't up to par, or there's something that you just didn't understand. But I don't really think that's what the spirit world does. For example, I'll use myself as an example here. My father was not a very good father in the physical realm. Okay. If a medium brings him through, because I work with a lot of mediums where they practice on me, where I'm teaching them, and they talk about my father coming through and he's showing love and he's remembering us playing baseball and taking me to ball games and blah, 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 blah. That's not true. My father never did anything like that. But if my father comes through and he expresses regret, if he says he's not going to give an apology because coming, this is what he says a lot, because just coming now in this reading, that's an apology enough for him. That's my father. So if my father came in his true spiritual form, which is completely about love, if he's healed on the other side, I wouldn't know who he was. So he has to show me and prove to me that he knows what he did wrong when he lived here on earth. He needs to show me he understands that there were things left unsaid and things left undone, meaning being a good father here, and that he's helping me as much as he can in the spirit world, which I know is true. So in that respect, yes, he does come through showing a bit of his original personality, or his physical form and his conscious mind and his actions here. So it's not really dark, but he has to show me that it's him. Like I said before, if my father comes through and he just talks about the love, he's the being of light, and he just loves me and he's so proud of me and all these things, I'm like, okay, but that doesn't prove anything to me. So, but I know my father's not going to come through and try to trick me. He does test the other mediums, and he will really be a bit withholding with information and make them work to get the information, to channel the information through them, to bring the information through them. But that's my father. Okay, so there's nothing dark about it. It's just he wasn't a very good person in the physical realm. I've learned not to say this too much because I have to give him a lot of credit. Once he passed, he really is becoming one of my greatest supporters in spirit. But I don't really, it's like the laws of attraction in a way. I don't want to get into this too much because it opens a huge can of worms, but just remember, God is all loving and all light, and anything in the spirit world works under the power and the love of God. So nothing coming through will be negative. But if you sit there and you're like, I don't want to channel dark spirits. I don't want to bring through dark spirits, and there's evil and all these things. I think your mind can really kick on, and that's the way you might perceive things. Okay. Like I said, no disrespect. You've asked my opinion. That's my opinion. Okay. The next question from Jennifer. She gave a few, but I'm going to answer them all. Has anyone ever tried to channel Edgar Cayce? Yes. I don't know if it was really him or not, but I've heard that he has come through. And has anyone ever had Jesus Christ come through in a trance session? Yes, but I'm also not sure that was actually him. My understanding of the spirit world and what my guides have told me is that if this was a very sort of well-known personality, they sort of stripped their personality and their original identity away from their spirit essence, because that personality, that name here on earth, comes with a lot of responsibility. So it's the spirit wisdom and spirit counsel that's important, not who they originally were. I think Jesus Christ, if you take Jesus Christ away from the Son of God and out of the Bible, and just look at him as an amazing medium, amazing healer, and a really amazing disruptor for religion, I think there's an essence of Jesus the man in a lot. But he passed so long ago. I think he's so ascended by now that it's just pure wisdom and pure light that comes through. So I have heard people say that they're channeling Jesus Christ. I have to take that with a grain of salt. I don't know. And honestly, how can you prove that? Also with Edgar Cayce, he's so well known. I know people, maybe he might come through in terms of like a spirit inspirer, meaning he's attracted to someone here in the physical realm, to their energy and their hope of what they want to do in the physical realm, their progression. So I have heard people say that they work with him, and I say, good for you. I don't know. Is there really a difference between a psychic reading and a reading with spirit? Aren't spirits sometimes doing psychic readings too? I think no. Okay. I think spirit, they know everything. They know what's going on. They know what's going on in your life. They can prophesize. They know what's going to happen. I don't think that's psychic. And there is a difference between a psychic reading and a mediumistic reading. A psychic reading is me as the psychic connecting to you, to get, sort of melding my energy with your energy and just working within your aura, within your energy field. And when you work mediumistically, I'm extending that energy up and above you to connect to the spirit world. And then it just flows from spirit. Okay. But they say it's certainly not an original saying. All mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. So you are using kind of the same technique in the beginning, but you're extending it back and up to connect with spirit. Okay. Next question from Jennifer: is our imagination really just a spirit world? It's a good question. Well, the spirit world is a world of thought, right? So, and we create our imagination through our thoughts and through daydreaming, through our subconscious mind. So it can be, but you have to give the spirit world credit sometimes when they start showing you things in the spirit world, which they can, how the spirit world functions, as much as they can show you and as much as we would understand. And I think just dismissing that as totally your imagination and you're making it up, no, I think they work through our imagination, our creative mind, our creative subconscious, I feel, to speak with us and show us things, because they really can't work through our left brain, or really in our conscious mind. So it's a world of thought, which is a world of imagination. So in a way, yes, but just don't think that anything coming from the spirit world is just your imagination, which means you're sort of making a dismissive. Okay, sorry, I'm going to start stumbling my words because I want to get through all these questions, and I'm seeing this is taking longer than I thought it would. Okay, another question from Jennifer: are dark souls created like the light souls have created? And if they are, is there a plan to evolve them into light souls? I don't know what a dark soul is. I know if you haven't spiritually progressed in the physical realm, when you go into spirit, there's the hope that you'll continue to progress and move into a higher realm of progression. So we continue to live and love and progress just as we are in the physical realm, in the spirit realm. So yes, I don't, a dark soul, like I said, Jennifer, I don't really, that's really not part of my belief system as a spiritualist. So I don't know, but they're not created. But I just think if you're living here as a person in the physical world, right? And you're so into your money, you're so into your ego, you're so into the materialistic world, the world of matter, money, fame, love, all the, not love, but, you know, sex, these things. And you're not trying to spiritually progress at all. I think your light is a bit dim. It's when you pass, the spirit world really works with you. They give you time to progress in the spirit world, and most of them do, and then they just progress higher into different realms of consciousness and higher spheres. Okay, so I think every soul has, every spirit has the possibility to progress. That's our right. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer, for your questions. Next question is from Tammy. Hey, Tammy. How to hear or meet or know your spirit guides? I know I have them and can feel them, but never know more than that. Feeling them is actually quite good. So what I've learned about the relationship with the spirit guides is that you have to give them time. And if you really want something so bad, you're not allowing them to just work with you on their time frame. So you just have to relax into it. And the more you can relax, the more they can start to move closer to you. There are certain meeting your spirit guide meditations that work. Just sitting in the presence of spirit can work without really having the intention of meeting your guides. And all of a sudden you might just feel a presence come closer. And the energy I find from spirit guides, there's a familiarity to them. Okay. So slowly they'll make themselves known to you. Will you see them? Maybe. Will you get to know their names? Possibly, but you don't have to. We're all unique. We're all different, thank God. So everyone's relationship with the spirit world is unique, as it should be. So maybe feeling them and just knowing you have them around is enough for you. And then just listen to them, ask them questions, and you'll see sometimes the synchronicity starts to happen, and they'll make themselves known. Sometimes doing a bit of trance in the altered state, that's actually how I got to know my guides really well, and how they're really working through me is really from trance. So maybe try that, but just relax into it. Anything with mediumship, you have to relax, because if you want something so bad, you're going to tense up, and you're not going to allow the creative force of the spirit to flow through you and work with you. Okay, so Kylie had a few questions. So let me just try to summarize it. Kylie's basically saying, they're asking tips or tricks or advice on how to work a busy 9-to-5 job. Yes, I know you have a busy job. Take care of life's duties and still be enthusiastic and connected with mediumship appointments that you know you have later in the day, to avoid burnouts, staying in the power, finding that healthy work-life mediumship balance on stressful days where there's no energy left for readings that have already been scheduled. Well, I mean, if you really have such a stressful job on the weekdays, then just schedule readings for the weekend. Okay, the spirit world know you need to work. The spirit world know that you need to make a living to pay your to pay your mortgage, to buy food, to health insurance, all these things that we have to take care of. So don't stress yourself out over it, but maybe just arrange like 2 readings on a Saturday and 1 on a Sunday. Or if you need to rest on a Saturday, just meditate on a Saturday and 2 readings on a Sunday. But don't stress yourself out over that, and just relax. I find I'm always very excited anything I do with the spirit world. Like, this excites me, just to speak about the spirit world, to read spiritual teachings. So maybe instead of arranging readings during the week, Kylie, you just start reading some spiritual books, some spiritual guidance books like Red Cloud or Silver Birch or Ramadan or any of these other spirit guides that there's so many books on, in terms of them giving their wisdom and counsel to us here in the physical realm. But just, I try to do something with the spirit world every day, even if I'm off, even if it's just reading or meditating or something. And anytime I do anything with the spirit world, it energizes me. Okay. Oh, Kyle, I think all your questions are sort of Grouped together. Okay. I have a question regarding trance healing when working with babies, or any client that needs a little distraction while being worked on. Advice to stay in the power while at the same time talking and being present with the client. Sometimes I notice they do zone out and get a little into the trance themselves, even if it's just for a few seconds. I'm assuming that's plenty of time for spirit to work. And I just want your take on it. Well, I mean, babies, or when you work with animals, it's hard to get them to stay in any sort of passive state. But I do find that trance or spirit healing or any sort of healing works really well with children and animals, because their conscious mind doesn't get in the way and they're not questioning it. So I don't worry if I'm working with a child if they're a bit distracted. The spirit world knows I'm working with a child or an animal or a baby. So they know how to get through. So I don't worry about the babies, youngest children or animals. The spirit will take care of that for me. In terms of a patient or healee, I just have them focus on their breath. Okay. And I just get them to work on a breathing technique for about 2 or 3 minutes just to relax them. And I really speak to them about they need to enter into a state of faith that this healing is coming from the upper realms, from the spirit world, from God, from the healing ministries and my healing guides, and that they need to enter into a state of acceptance and faith that the healing will go exactly where they need to go. Or if I really feel they're kind of stressed or distracted, I might just take 5 minutes and do a visualization with them, take them to a beach, take them to the forest or a mountaintop, and just have them breathe and just relax. Okay. It really doesn't matter where you take them. And then to get back into my power, or not so much in my power, but to attune myself to the spirit world and my spirit guides so they can heal through me, I just take a few deep breaths, I said, and I just allow them to work through me. So the breath is always good for me, to get myself just back into attunement and to connecting with the spirit world. Okay, Kylie, last question. How to deal with extremely emotional sitters in the moment, deep heartache, grief, sadness, anger, not ready to forgive a loved one, depression. Best advice to comfort them and give them a peaceful state. Yeah, I think the more you do, the less connection you have to your sitter. So I'm not really bothered anymore if the sitter has a low energy or they're a bit depressed, because my energy is coming from spirit. I feel spirit is sort of on my right and a bit behind me. So I just focus on spirit. I'm not so concerned anymore. Obviously, we're not talking about if they're in intense grief and sort of anxiety. I won't do the reading. I'll say they need to come back, because all that sort of blocks, and then I know they're really not ready for a reading. So anger, I try to stay away from anger. I give my little elevator speech before I do mediumship readings. It's not my job to decide who comes through. They should accept who comes through and just hear the message. If they're not ready to forgive, that's fine. I will leave it with them. If someone comes through and they really start to get agitated and really upset, I'll say, so you don't wish to hear from this person? If like, no, definitely not, send them away. I'm not going to send them away, but I'm going to just reach out and just in my thoughts and say, thank you very much for coming, friend, but I don't think your loved one is ready to hear from you yet, but please keep trying. Okay. So yeah, it kind of comes in my elevator speech before I start the reading. I can usually tell if someone's ready for a reading or not before I plan it. And if I don't feel they're ready, I'll just tell them to contact me again, or I'll put them on a waiting list for a few months down the line. But if they're really in intense grief and if they just lost their loved ones, I tend to want them to wait a few months to hear from their loved ones, if that makes sense. But yeah, just talk to them before and explain to them it's not a telephone. I can't decide who comes through. They should just come into it with an open heart, open mind. And a lot of times it's really the people that they don't want to hear from that they really should, because that might set them off on their own healing journey. And they might start to unfold their own spirituality. But it's not up to me. I can just deliver the message. And if they really don't want to hear from this loved one, they'll they'll tell me, and I'll politely ask the spirit to try again, and then I'll try just to link to someone they want to speak with. Hopefully, sometimes they don't actually want to speak to anyone, but that's not my problem. I just do the job that spirit tells me to do. Okay, so next question. Who's it from? From Karine. Okay, so hello, Joseph. Thank you for this. You're very welcome. I was taught while meditating, if a spirit arrives, I should ask them to come back later. Meditation for me is not an opportunity to connect with the spirit world. Sorry, I'm sort of summarizing. Yes, I agree with you. If you're just sitting to meditate, if you're sitting in your power, if you're just wanting to relax, and expand your subconscious, yes, then I agree with you. Listen, I much rather talk to probably 99.9% of the time with the spirit world than living people. But as much as I love the spirit world, they're incredibly opportunistic. So I know they will try to come in and try to speak with me, and I will politely ask them, this is my time, please come back. Now they don't really do this anymore with me. I think I have decent boundaries with the spirit world. Now is not the opportunity to communicate with me, but come back later, and they will. However, if I'm setting the intention to sit in a meditation attunement, to sit in the presence of spirit and the wisdom of spirit, to receive their counsel, then I'm all in. And I've told them I'm open to hear from you. Okay, but yes, you can definitely ask them to come back later. Politely, please be respectful. Receiving guidance from the higher self during meditation is different if we did not ask for it during a meditation. I'm not the right one to really talk about the higher self with. Like, I don't quite know what the difference is between the higher self and my own spirit. But if I'm sitting in a meditation and my own spirit, which is the same as a spirit communicator, just I'm still living in a matter body. My matter body, sort of is the car that my spirit is driving. I'll always listen to the wisdom and counsel of my own spirit. And that's important. You need to learn the language of your own spirit, to love your own spirit, to communicate with your own spirit, and honor your own spirit. But that I will take. But I can tell the difference between my own spirit and one of my guides, or just a loved one coming. And then she says, so then I would separate my daily meditation and blending with spirit development sessions. Yes, meditation is your time with your own spirit, I feel. And then you set a different time to blend with spirit, to communicate with your spirit guides, to sit in the presence of spirit, which I find incredibly helpful. Okay, thanks, Corinne. Okay, so next one is from Shireen. I'm a developing medium. So your Q&A, thank you for the opportunity. You're very welcome. My question is about mental mediumship and trance. Well, mental mediumship is trance, okay? You have mental mediumship in the perceived form, that's evidential mediumship, and you have mental mediumship in the controlled form, that's trance, just being clear. I've been drawn to trance. Well, then Shireen, definitely do it. And I believe my guides use my voice to answer some of questions in my life. Yeah, they can do that. They can definitely bring wisdom and counsel through for yourself as well. Just whenever I need their help. Good. The words come out mumbled and don't make sense a lot of the time. That comes with time. Just keep doing it. You need to learn to work your vocal cords and your tongue and your mouth and your lips and all that. I was thinking that's maybe because I'm awake and not in the trance state. Possibly, but and your mind gets in the way. Yes, more that. And also you need to give them time. They need to learn to work through your physicality. Now I'm noticing it's starting to happen when I give a reading in mental mediumship. I explained mental mediumship before. I feel the spirit person is getting very close. I feel their face on top of my face, their mouth opens to speak, and sometimes I would get a name that is later confirmed. What do I do with that? I feel silly in front of a sitter. My face changes and mumbled words come out. I am wondering if this is happening, why this is happening, and what I should do from here. Well, speak to your spirit team and say, when you're doing evidential mediumship, it should stay evidential mediumship, and they shouldn't try to overshadow you, which is what trance is that their spirit is overshadowing your spirit through your subconscious. But it can be a bit disconcerting. So ask them just to pull back if they start to do that. You should begin to understand when they start to come forward to overshadow you, which is an intense blending, and just ask them to stop. If you're doing an evidential reading, in mental mediumship in the perceived form, then no, that shouldn't be happening. But that just could be boundaries that you need to set. But your question is really good, and what you're describing is definitely the beginnings of a trance medium. So I would look for some trance development. I would find some trance meditations to just start learning more about it, to allow yourself to enter into an altered state. And trance mediumship takes a lot of time and practice and development. So be kind to yourself and just give yourself and the spirit world the gift of your patience, and just allow yourself to develop into it in the way that on their time frame. Okay, but what you're describing does sound like it's the beginnings of trance, but it's your job to really create these boundaries with the spirit world. So if it's happening during when you're awake, when during an evidential reading and you feel it coming, just tell them to back off a bit. It's fine. Okay, so next question is from Lynn. This came up in a practice session with Carol. I do know Carol and Lynn. Hey, girls. This morning, can your guides come to you in completely different appearances? I mean, like races and time periods, or do they have a set look for you to be with them? She did ask me this question. I work with Lynn in a few different classes, and I said, I really don't know. It's a good question. But the more I thought about it, the more I think, our relationship with our spirit guides evolves over time. So the better connection you can have with your guides, the less your conscious mind gets in the way. So perhaps, Lynn, part of it's your spirit guides and part of it's your mind still kicking on, and they're just trying to lock their appearance to you. My guides don't change how they look, but in the beginning they did, and I think it was more my mind. Okay, so but allow them. Like my guide will tell me the different time periods he's experienced, and when he lived here. He's still alive, obviously, but just not in the physical world. So, but he's always kept the same ethnicity. But sometimes he has a beard, and then sometimes he didn't. Now he just has a mustache. So I think it was really just me getting used to his energies, and then how he's impressing through me his physical appearance. But keep working with it. It's a good question, and like I said, that's my belief. Don't know if it's true or not, but that's how I feel. So I feel it might just be you working through getting to know your guides better, or it could be different guides. You never know. We have a ton of guides. Okay, here's another question. Here's a question from Marcy. Hey, Marcy. During attunement meditations on a chair, I sometimes feel a sensation like my body is dipping to the side. I jerk to catch myself, but the reality is my body hasn't moved at all. Yes, I know that feeling. I'm guessing it's not my body, but the etheric body, spirit. It's a little disconcerting. Yes, I get it. So wondering why this happens, but not all the time. It could be your spirit, your etheric body for sure, but it could also be just the way your physical body, your body of matter, is reacting to energy at that time. But I've had many times where I felt like my knees and my legs were like just jerking up and down, and they weren't moving at all. So I think it's really just your body getting used to the energy from your spirit, and it's just the way your physicality is reacting to the energy. But that should fade. Also, what you could do, I find, is we go back to the spirit world and say, hey, whatever you're doing with my energy, it's jerking me out of the meditation because I feel like I'm falling, or I feel like I'm moving too much, and you're not moving at all, but it can feel that way. I agree. And just ask them to, I don't know, change their vibration, change the frequency, maybe pull back a bit just with the energy, and see if that helps. I feel it will. Jamie. Okay. Hey, Jamie. How can we separate multiple spirit during coming through, or is that just practice in classes? It's just practice. The more you do this, the more you'll be able to realize that the two spirits coming through, and then you have to separate them. You have to find a separator. So obviously I need a sitter. So I have two grandmothers in spirit coming through for a sitter, and the sitter saying, well, that sounds like my grandmother Carol, and that sounds like my grandmother Jane. And then it just keeps going back and forth. I have to really reach out to my guide, who helps me a lot with my readings, or to the two lovely women in spirit and say, okay, you need to help me separate this. And then just give me a piece of evidence that will help me separate. And then I'll hear Grandma Carol say, you remember when I'm from the old country, so we took your pet bunny and we made it into Easter dinner. And I'll say that to the sitter, and I'm like, oh my God, that was Grandma Carol that I know. Okay, Carol, that's here. Okay, and then Grandma Jane, she says something, and that's here. And then they're starting to separate. And then I just really say to the stronger energy, okay, let me work with you, lovely woman. And I'll just work with Grandma Carol here. And I'll politely ask Grandma Jane to just wait a bit. But I'll feel the two of them, okay? So I'll let the reading with the one finish, and then I'll pick up on the other one. But I'm always very aware of two of them. So it's really just practice, Jamie. Okay, but it's good. The more you develop, the more you'll see your sitter will say, oh, that sounds like my uncle and my father, or that sounds like my brother and my friend. It's a good sign, because it means the spirit will just kind of deeming you ready to move on to multiples. Okay. Does it matter what we eat or if we smoke? Things like that. I know each is a healing journey. And while I have been able to let go of the grosser handicaps, I don't know what that is, but there are still some that are with me. Well, okay. So there are a few things here. First of all, we live in the physical realm, so you need to enjoy yourself. You don't want to live the life of a priest or a nun unless you are a priest or a nun, and they also drink and smoke and eat what they want. But you have to allow yourself enjoyment in the physical realm. On the other hand, our physical body is the car that our spirit drives here. Okay, our physical body is the only way and the only path and vehicle that our spirit has to express itself in the physical realm. What is it doing in the physical realm? Hopefully, it's helping the rest of humanity heal, proving to them that there is survival of so-called death. We're basically doing the work of the spirit world through our own spirit, through our body. Okay, so you want to keep the body as healthy as possible. I also smoked. I also drank a lot. You have to decide. I find eating, yes, there are certain things that you shouldn't eat before you read. Definitely never smoke anything funny or drink before you work with spirit, ever, ever, ever. It's not good. Don't do it. It's completely disrespectful to spirit. If you want to knock a few back after you read, or light one up after you're done, have fun. I found the more I developed and the more work I do with the spirit world, I can't drink anymore. It makes me sick. It gives me vertigo. I can't smoke anymore. It gives me vertigo. So it seems like vertigo really came to me to say, stay in line. But what you eat, you have to decide what's right for you. Okay. But yeah, there's certain things you should definitely stay away from. Heavy things, things that make you feel lethargic, things like that. But you have to figure it out. We're all different, like I said. So if you eat a certain thing and the readings don't go well, then don't eat those things before you read anymore. But yeah, the cleaner you can keep your vessel, your body, the better it is, because the longer it will last and the easier it is for the spirit world to work through you, through a healthy vessel. Okay. Sharon, actually, this question came from Sharon, but I know it wasn't meant for this video, but I like the question. Sharon, so we don't to know if they have their senses in the spirit world, like sense of smell, sense of taste, all that stuff. I think if they want to, they can. It's a world of thought. So if certain spirits want to enjoy eating a chocolate cake or a piece of fruit, I think they can. Do they have to eat? No. But or smell a flower, if they want to, they can. But the physical senses aren't needed in the spirit world. But I think if they want to do that in spirit, they do that. Yeah, so that's kind of that's my answer to that. It's a world of thought, so they can do what they want. If they want to live in a house made out of wood, they can live in a house made out of wood. If they want to live in a townhouse in a city, they can live in a townhouse in a city. If they don't want to have a home at all, which they don't need, then they can just be in nature or be in the cosmos or in the universe. It's all different. Okay. Corinne has the same question. Is it best for a medium to keep their body clean of alcohol, drugs, toxins on a regular basis so that they may be the clearest possible channel? I think yes. It has helped me. But spirit also kind of drew the line with me. I can't drink anymore. I can't do drugs anymore. I try not to really put poison in my body anymore, like certain foods. I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to bring my own beliefs into this, but I do feel what you put into your body, high vibrational foods help you. And what's a high vibrational food? Plant-based, but I'm leaving it at that because everyone has the right. Look, at the end of the day, it's all free will. You can do what you want. But I was debating if I should read this. So there's this one, I'm just going to read this. This is not, I'm not reading this to start a discussion, but I feel like a lot of people are asking about what they should eat and what they should not eat. So I'm just going to read this. It's from Silver Birch Speaks. As you can see, I have a ton of notes that I don't know what I'm going to do with. But the question that Silver Birch was asked, would this be a happier world and would people become healthier if they were vegetarians? And he said, I will answer the question by saying that in my view, the answer is yes. Okay. Basically eating other animals, because we're animals, this habit, this is from Silver Birch here, this habit coarsens the physical body. And when the temple is coarse, the senses, the finer senses that have to operate through it cannot reach the peak of perfection, which should be theirs for spirit communication and working with our realm. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. I feel it does matter what we do with our physical body and what we put into it. Okay. But God created us to have free will. So you do what you want. But I feel it does make a difference what you put into your body. Okay, was that it? Were that all the questions? I got through all the questions. There was one more question asked me because, as those of you who know me, I'm a huge spirit wisdom guy of books, and asking what I'm reading now. And I just got this, which is The Blue Island. I have the original version, which was written in like the early 1900s, but I just ordered this, and it's The Blue Island and Other Spiritualist Writings. And I just love spirit writings, spiritualist writings, because it all comes from spirit. And it just teaches us that the purpose of being here in the physical realm is really to love and help people. Okay, to really have love in your heart and to be like God. And what is being like God like? It's about love and compassion. I joke a lot and I say, look, I love everybody. I do. Do I like everybody? No, but I don't have to. I wish everybody well, even people I don't get along with. I don't have to have them in my life, but I always wish people the best. I don't want harm to come on anybody. But at the end of the day, all these spirit teachings come back to being of service, and being of service to the spirit world, God, and humanity. And that's what true religion is. Okay, so those are the questions. Thank you very much. Like I said, please don't send me messages or emails or private messages if you don't agree with these beliefs. These are my beliefs, and we're all entitled to our own beliefs, and that's the beauty of our world. Thank you very much, and I will see you all soon. Okay, bye.